I got stuck in the desert. Not a good thing. I was riding in this normally dry wash out here in the desert. It's about 30 feet wide, and normally it's dry, but just a few days before we had a heck of a storm up in the mountains, and there was a flash flood came right down through here. So there was a lot of soft ground and mud that I had to get around. And in the background of this picture, you can see a little incline where I tried to get up and out of there, because as the further I went down this wash, the steeper the banks got, and I thought I'd better get out of there while the getting was good. But I tried to climb that little incline, and it was just too soft, and my rear wheels were just spinning. I don't have four-wheel drive in this Recon, so I was just spinning. So I backed up. I put it in reverse and backed up. Wasn't paying attention to where I was backing to, and I backed right into a sinkhole. And you can see the result. It just went down. Well, I found an old barrel to anchor to. The cable stretched all the way out. And there's the poor Honda down there. So let's get the winch going and get out of here. Oh God, look at that hole I was in. Oh, I love my winch. I love my winch. Okay, now as you saw in the video, I got stuck pretty good out there. And the only thing I could find to anchor to was that barrel. Barrel was full of dirt, so it did not move. So I anchored to the barrel. But I got to thinking about it. Geez, if there was no barrel there, I could have wrapped the cable around a bush. I've done that before, and the bush did not pull out. And I was able to move the quad that way, pull it up out of a wash or whatever. But I thought, you know what, if there's nothing to anchor to, what am I going to do? So what I did was I made or I didn't make it, I found it in the desert, a device. I'll show you what it is here. This happens to be part of an old steering wheel lock. I forgot what they call them. I don't remember the name of them. They're not really very popular. But I found this out in the desert. So I sharpened one end of it. And what I do is I'll drive this thing into the ground and anchor my winch cable to it, and see if it'll hold in the ground. I may have to extend it a little, but you drive this thing into the ground, wrap your cable around right here with the clip, and let's go out and see if it works. We're going to give it a try. This will be the first time. Hope it works. All right, I'm going to test out my new anchor. I see if I could pull the quad up that ravine right there, and I've got my anchor anchored into the ground right here. So let's go see if we can if the anchor holds. Okay, let's make sure it's out of gear first. I don't need to be pulling it uphill. All right. see if the anchor's coming up out of the ground yet. Nope, not yet. Okay, let's go. Anchor's holding. Coming along pretty good. Works just fine. Now I wonder if I can use the winch to pull the thing up out of the ground. Yeah, I can. How about that? Well, the anchor holds. Pretty good. And I used it to pull it right up out of the ground. How about that? Okay, I'll show you the winch that I got on here. This is a Harbor Freight winch. Not very expensive. It's I think it was like $80, something like that. But it's good enough for this. It has some drawbacks, but it's good enough for the quad here. Here's the fair lead that I mounted here on the front, and I had to cut it out a little bit right here to get this in here because this wasn't made for a winch. But this is the front fair lead, and then I had to put another one. Let me get back in here. Here's the winch itself right here. And I had to put another fair lead right here to make sure that the cable stays on the spool. In fact, the instructions for this winch said you're supposed to put the fair lead right here up close to the barrel, which that's fine, but then you need one out here too for the cable. But this winch is it's not bad. It's a 2,500 pound winch. Mounts with this plate right here. Mounts real well. Does a nice job. And the only thing about it, though, this is an older style winch. And I'll show you on the other side over here. When you spool out, you free it up. The cable by pulling out this knob and turning it, and that allows you to free spool the cable out. The newer ones have a T handle here. This one is a round knob, which is sometimes a little hard to pull. You have to come up here and give it a little bit of a slack, and then you can pull it. Now, see, I still can't pull it. It's still a little tight. Okay, but anyway, the newer ones have a T handle, which is much easier. The other thing about the winch is this is an older style. The newer ones are a little bit different from Harbor Freight. But it has a remote control right here so that you can stand back and operate the winch. And that's fine, except if you lose the remote control, your winch is dead. You can't do a thing with it. It won't work at all. Then you have to order a new remote. But there is a modification that you can put in, which I have done. You can rewire it, and I put in a switch here so that I can operate the winch manually or remotely. So that's the way it works. And I think that I think that it works pretty well. It's not a bad little winch. I've used it a couple of times. I use it mainly to load my quad in the back of my pickup, because at my age I don't want to take a chance of tipping over backwards or flopping out and hurting myself. So I use the winch to pull it up in there. I pull it up with the chain and the cable, and works real well.